Bobby Portis out there with Pirtle. Then there's Jaylen Brown. Then there's Kelly Oubre. And it's Jerome in at the 1. And what a matchup we have here in the front court, Greg.
Yeah, each of these teams are anchored and highly intensified.
Oubre outside. Portis. Down low. Here's Brown. And finished off by Brown.
I mean, what a player Jaylen Brown has become. My goodness.
Mobley outside. And he drops in the layup off the glass.
Give it up to Brown. He's so dangerous off the bounce.
Outside, George. Smith sets the pick for George. Mobley with it. Now guarded by Pirtle. And there's the foul. It's on Bobby Portis. That is his first foul of the game.
First team foul.
Here's George. Mobley sets the pick for George. Shot clock at 6. The 18-footer is right on the mark.
You can't just stop when there's a pick set up. Gotta fight over it as a defender.
That's one that the coaches will watch tomorrow with that player. You hate to see him give up in that situation.
Brown, no good.
You're not going to see that very often. Plenty of space, but he just, let's face it, he whiffs on that one.
George looking over the floor. Out of bounds. Detroit takes possession. The Pistons have gone 2 of 3 here to start out the game. Oubre outside. Portis kicks to Brown. That doesn't go either for Brown. Here's Hauser. He's covered by Brown. George with the screen on Pirtle. Mobley wide open. That doesn't go in. Had a chance, though, to take the lead. Here's Jerome. Here's Brown.
He's altering.
Dunn, he's checked in for Oubre. Here in the first, just under 2.5 minutes played so far. Just 4 to shoot. Dunn, wide open, he fires, bangs home the trifecta.
When he's hitting that shot, this offense becomes scary, even more difficult to defend.
There's no question. When he is connecting from those kind of spots on the floor, it is just a huge boost for what they can do offensively.
Here's Brown. And he finishes nicely on the layup. Brown's got 6 points.
A menace in transition. I love seeing Brown attacking like that.
For Jakob Pirtle, his parents paved the way for him to become a professional athlete. And I'd say Brent did a good job.
Well, it's a good point, Kevin. They were doing some blocking of their own, just not basketballs like Jakob does. Both of his parents, members of the Austrian national volleyball teams, and building some roofs on some people trying to put down a few slams.
Now, here's Dunn. Here's Jerome. A chance there to push it to double digits, but it's off the mark. They've been looking out of sync offensively.
Yeah, their offense has ground to a standstill.
Aggressive slash from the young guard. George fears no one when attacking the basket.
Here's Jerome. Still scoreless. Here's Dunn. Good. Nice job down low.
And when he breaks out the crossover, you can be sure he's going to leave somebody.
Smith for the 3. Rebound, Detroit. This game coming on the heels of their win against Chicago.
And really showed their depth when they needed it most. On the road, having to manufacture points.
Yeah, and watching that, all kinds of contributions and just little things that guys were doing to chip in for that win.
Now, Milton, after Jaylen Brown's three-pointer that didn't go. George passes to Valanciunas. The shot's good on the assist by George.
Yeah, such a sweet three-point stroke there, and it can really open things up inside because as good as he shoots it, it forces the opposing bigs to have to step out on the perimeter.
A nice shot by Brown.
And very early on, Brown learned how to finish through contact, an essential skill for an NBA player to master.
Smith for three. And so it's Detroit with a 6-point lead at the end of the quarter. They're playing a bruising game inside, and it's working for them. And we'll be back with you shortly. And for those of you just tuning in, the second quarter of action is where we're at right now. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from Detroit?
Well, in that first quarter, they were intent on just pounding the ball down low.
Yeah, you don't see that all that often, getting down there and doing that much damage in a quarter. You got to respect the game plan.
And the Lions looking at who they've got out there. They've got Curry. He's out there with Shake Milton. And it's Livers in at the 4. With the drive. Hauser misses. And so it's Oubre with it. He brings it up for the Pistons. 6-point lead. Richards. That one's in, his first shot this game.
Yeah, there it is again. On a lot of their possessions this first half, they've established great inside position.
And Greg, for longtime Pistons fans, that Bad Boys era was so special.
I mean, Detroit's a tough, hard-working town, and those teams did have great talent led by Isaiah Thomas, but it was their physical, intimidating style of play that made them the Bad Boys.
Curry can't get it to go. Pistons leading by 8. Horton Tucker, the pass to Dunn. Now Richards. Pass to Oubre. Three-pointer. Livers grabs the rebound. And the Lions with possession here.
Yeah, I remember last time they met up, they just got ran out of the building. They weren't too happy with some of the calls in that game either.
Yeah, they wound up with a lot of foul trouble, but that's on them. The officials were calling it tight, and they never really adjusted. They kept committing fouls, kept complaining, and the game kept getting out of control.
Now, here's Dunn. 5 points in the game, and finished off by Oubre.
Oubre just having a sixth sense that time, sniffing out the alley-oop and throwing it in.
Curry deciding where to go with it. Pass to Milton. Fires from the wing. And it's off the back rim. No good.
And guys, you've heard of overpassing. Well, that shot was an example of underpassing.
Maybe they can find a way to establish some rhythm in the next few possessions with the extra pass.
Now here's Curry following the miss by Chris Dunn. Yep, it goes, and the Piston lead is cut down now to just 4 in the basket from Milton.
Yeah, this story in the second quarter much different than the one in the first. We're finally seeing some aggression.
Now here's Dunn. Now Horton Tucker. Played in with a nice touch off the glass. Horton Tucker's got his first basket of the night. And a big part of perimeter defense, Greg, avoiding screens. There's some of the tricks of the trade in that regard.
Well, sometimes you have to get skinny. I mean, other times it's using your strength. A lot goes into it. Also, you know, getting a cadence for the screener. It's one of the more challenging aspects of NBA defense.
And the Lions decide to take their first time out here. Detroit going with an almost entire new group here. Pirtle, he's checked in for Nick Richards. Portis comes in for Horton Tucker. Jaylen Brown's checked in for Kelly Oubre. And it's Ty Jerome in for Chris Dunn. And the Lions with possession here. They trail by 6. Back to George. Reeves outside. 2 free throws coming up, and they call the shooting foul.
Here's a look at some stats for Pirtle. Good season for him last year. And he's a shot blocker as well. Top 20 in that category last season. Great timing and challenges at the rim.
He was a top 10 rebounder last season for good reason. He's an incredibly intense guy to compete with. And for a full game, too. I mean, just nonstop. And the first one at the line is good. And the Pistons making a change here. Oubre's checked in. And Reeves drops them both.
Well, a great player on a great role at the charity stripe. The D has got to be careful about being too aggressive on him and sending him back for freebies.
Now here's Brown. And he really did play well against Chicago in that last game. Count that one.
Few better athletes in the league than Jaylen Brown, and he stays in attack mode.
And Greg, we were talking Jaylen Brown making the 2023 All-NBA second team. That was big for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kevin, it made Jaylen eligible for the Supermax, signing for that 5-year extension in July of 23. At the time, the largest contract in NBA history.
Now Portis. After the missed 3 from here's Oubre. And finished off by Oubre.
Yeah, Oubre breaking out the hammer.
And here's George. He'll bring it up for the Lions. 8-point game. When this game is done, they'll be off to take on the Raptors. That's game 4 of 4 out on the road for them. Pass to Hauser. And here is Mobley. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Fade. Rebound, Detroit.
And that was a little bit of a range check for him.
Well, I thought they played smart, and then all of a sudden it was maybe a little too flashy there, and that's unfortunate.
Oubre for 3. Mobley with the rebound. The Lions have gone only 2 of 7 from the field since the second quarter got underway. Hauser the pass to Mobley. Here's Hauser, the 3. And Pirtle pulls it down. Oubre outside. Pass to Portis on the wing. Brown. Driving to the basket. And he converts the layup. Brown's got the lead up to 10 now for the Pistons.
Another good play. This is how they built the lead. Calling on the right guys at the right time.
Basketball IQ is something that gets talked about, but its importance to a team showing up here, running plays that turn into scores.
And so is Detroit going into the break with a 10-point lead. They've been playing some ferocious defense. Back to the action in just a minute.
Welcome. First up on the agenda tonight, let's see how the Rookie of the Year race is shaping up.
Some great options in there. In fact, these guys might compete for all-star spots for the next few years.
That's a big leap, Kenny. 1 or 2 of them, maybe, but most guys don't ever get to that level.
And now let's turn to the first half of our game. It's been all about Jaylen Brown so far.
Listen, so far, Jaylen Brown has been terrific. To be fair, sometimes we expect him to have more games like this, just because of his natural talent, but he's getting more and more consistent every year.
He knows how great he can be, and he's showing out tonight. And that's all for us. Now it's time to send it back to Kevin Harlan for the beginning of the third quarter.
And we've got third quarter of basketball for you. 2 quarters in the books. You look at Jaylen Brown. What a contribution.
Definitely been challenging the defense here early on, not settling for anything outside.
And you want these kind of nights where you can start to see those openings before they happen.
And the Lions with possession here, trailing by 10. We've got Jakob Poeltl. Bobby Portis out there with Brown. We begin the second half. A three-pointer is right on target. Smith's got the first points of the third quarter up on the board for the Lions. Jerome passes to Portis. Here's Jerome, defended by George. Brown outside. Goes to the reverse layup and taps it in. Brown's got 14 points.
And they are attacking the rim and getting great results.
Outside, George. Great D that time from Oubre.
I'd love to see them impose themselves a little more on the backboard. That's a great way to find confidence. Always a sure